Questions let about professional education. Part 16. Question number 1. At the end of the semester, Teresa submits her final project. Teacher Hilda grades the project to determine how well she has mastered the subject content. Which type of assessment does this scenario represent? Letter A. Assessment as learning. Letter B. Assessment by learning. Letter C. Assessment of learning. Letter D. Assessment for learning. The correct answer is letter C. Assessment of learning. Assessment of learning is also called summative assessment. Its main purpose is to measure what students have learned at the end of a lesson, unit, or course. It summarizes achievement, often for grading, reporting, or certification. In the case of Teresa, she has already completed her final project, which means the learning process has already taken place. Teacher Hilda grades the project to determine how much Teresa has mastered the subject, rather than to improve her learning in the moment. This type of assessment is judgmental and evaluative, rather than formative, because it tells the teacher and student how much learning has been achieved, rather than guiding further learning. Question number 2. At the end of the semester, Randy submit a collection of their essays, poems, and artwork, showing their progress throughout the term. Which type of assessment of learning is this? Letter A. Project, portfolio. Letter B. Written exam. Letter C. Performance-based test. Letter D. Standardized test. The correct answer is letter A. Project or portfolio. The situation describes a project or portfolio assessment, a type of assessment of learning or summative assessment. From the situation, at the end of the semester, students submit a collection of their essays, poems, and artwork, which demonstrates their overall learning, progress, and growth throughout the term. This type of assessment provides a comprehensive view of students' achievements, reflecting both knowledge and skills developed over time. A portfolio is the summarizes of what students have learned and allows teachers to evaluate their final performance. Question number 3. David creates a video recording of himself delivering a speech and adds it to his portfolio. Which type of portfolio component does this video represent? Letter A. Artifact. Letter B. Production. Letter C. Attestation. Letter D. Reproduction. The correct answer is letter B. Production. Production is an original work or performance created by the David that demonstrates knowledge, skills, or abilities. It often involves active application or demonstration of learning. In the scenario, David created a recorded video of himself delivering a speech, actively demonstrating his public speaking skills. This video is an original creation by David and serves as tangible evidence of his learning in action. This situation is a typically performance-based, showcasing a student's ability to apply knowledge or skills in a real or simulated situation, rather than being static work like essays and artwork or called as artifacts. The 4 evidence of learning included in the student's portfolio. First is the attestation. It is a proof or validation of a student's achievement provided by someone else. For examples, certificates, awards, recommendation letters, or official recognitions. Second is the artifact. It is the actual work created by the student that demonstrates learning. For examples, essays, drawings, artwork, laboratory reports, or written projects. Third is the reproduction. It is a copy or representation of original work included in the portfolio when the original cannot be submitted. For examples, photocopies of essays, scanned drawings, or photos of large projects or models. Fourth is the production. This is the original or performance-based work created by the student that demonstrates skills or knowledge in action. For examples, recorded speeches, videos of performances, science experiments, or multimedia presentations. Question number 4. Mrs. Santos gives her students a cumulative oral and written test at the end of the quarter to measure their understanding of all topics discussed. Which type of assessment is this? Letter A. Formative assessment. Letter B. Quarterly assessment. Letter C. Performance assessment. Letter D. Daily quiz. The correct answer is letter B. Quarterly assessment. Quarterly assessment is a summative evaluation conducted at the end of a grading period. Its main purpose is to measure students' overall learning and achievement after all lessons or topics for that period have been taught. When the test is cumulative, it covers all topics discussed during the quarter, not just a single lesson. It often includes oral and written components, allowing evaluation of knowledge and understanding in multiple ways. And the results are typically used for grading and reporting students' performance. The 3 components of summative assessments. First is the written exam. It is the type of assessment where students demonstrate their learning through written responses, such as multiple choice questions, short answers, essays, or problem-solving exercises. Its purpose is to measure students' knowledge and used to evaluate learning at the end of a lesson, unit, or course. For example, a science quiz with multiple choice and short answer questions. Second is the performance-based assessment. It is the type of assessment requires students to demonstrate skills, knowledge, or competencies in action. It focuses on how students apply learning rather than just recalling information. Its purpose is to show students' ability to perform tasks or solve real-world problems. For example, conducting a science experiment. Third is the quarterly assessment or exam. It is a cumulative, summative assessment conducted at the end of a grading period. It evaluates overall learning and achievement for all topics covered during that quarter. Its purpose is to summarize what students have learned over a period. For examples, a cumulative exam covering all math topics for the first quarter. Question number 5. During the grading period, Mr. Cruz computes his students' grades in science. He explains that quizzes, long tests, and written exams make up 40% of the student's total grade, while experiments and projects count for another 40%, and the quarterly exam counts for the remaining 20%. According to the given scenario, what type of assessment component does the 40% for quizzes, long tests, and written exams represent? Letter A. Performance tasks. Let it B. Written works. Let it C. Quarterly assessment. Letter D. Formative assessment. The correct letter is B. Written works. In the scenario, the 40% is explicitly described as coming from quizzes, long tests, and written exams. These are all written assessments items where students show knowledge and understanding through written responses. Question number 6. Ms. de Greno asks her students to conduct an experiment showing how temperature affects the rate of dissolving. Students record their procedures, observe changes, and explain their results to the class. Which type of assessment does this activity represent? A. Written work. B. Performance-based assessment. C. Quarterly exam. D. Formative quiz. The correct answer is letter B. Performance-based assessment, because this scenario shows an active demonstration of skills because the students are conducting an experiment where they plan and follow procedures, make observations, gather data, and explain their results to the class. The activity reflects real scientific work, making it an authentic, hands-on task rather than an abstract written exercise. It allows students to apply their knowledge and demonstrate understanding through actual performance, which is the essence of a performance-based assessment. Question number 7. Which of the following situations best shows the use of a rubric as a scoring tool in summative assessment? Letter A. Ms. Hermosa checks her students' multiple-choice test papers using an answer key to mark the correct responses. Letter B. Mrs. Aquino observes her class during a group activity and ticks a checklist to see if each member participated. Letter C. Mr. Guevara evaluates his students' oral presentations using a scoring guide that describes performance levels such as excellent, satisfactory, and needs improvement based on content, delivery, and organization. The correct answer is letter C. Mr. Guevara evaluates his students' oral presentations using a scoring guide that describes performance levels such as excellent, satisfactory, and needs improvement based on content, delivery, and organization. First, we need to understand what a rubric is. A rubric is a detailed scoring guide that lists clear criteria such as content, delivery, and organization and includes a descriptors for performance levels. For example, excellent for 5, very satisfactory for 4, satisfactory for 3, fair for 2, needs improvement for 1. A rubric shows how well a task was done, not just whether it was done. It is used to judge the quality of student performance across several dimensions, making it ideal for complex and judgment-based tasks like oral presentations, projects, or performances. The option C explicitly describes a scoring guide with multiple criteria and performance levels. It ensures that grading is fair, consistent, and transparent, helping both teachers and students understand what high-quality work looks like. Teacher Marco evaluates his students' essays. Using a rubric that includes separate criteria such as content, organization, grammar, and creativity. Each criterion has its own score, which he adds up for the final grade. What type of rubric does this describe? Letter A. Analytic rubric. Letter B. Holistic rubric. Letter C. Single-point rubric. Letter D. Modified rubric. The correct answer is letter A. Analytic rubrics. An analytic rubric is a scoring tool that breaks down a task into specific criteria such as content, organization, grammar, and creativity, with each criterion scored separately. After rating each criterion, the teacher adds up the scores to get the final grade. In Teacher Marco's situation, he evaluates his students' essays by giving separate scores for each criterion such as the content, organization, grammar, and creativity and then sums the scores to determine the final grade. This method shows how well students performed in each area and helps both the teacher and students identify specific strengths and weaknesses. Therefore, the rubric Marco uses is an analytic rubric because it breaks performance into parts, criteria, scores each part separately, and combines the results for the total score. Question number 9. Teacher Anna evaluates her students' poem recitations. She gives one overall score based on her overall impression of the performance instead of scoring each aspect separately. What type of rubric is Teacher Anna using? Letter A. Developmental rubric. Letter B. Analytic rubric. Letter C. Single-point rubric. Letter D. Holistic rubrics. The correct answer is letter D. A holistic rubric. A holistic rubric is a scoring tool that evaluates a student's work as a whole, giving one overall score based on the general quality or impression of the performance rather than scoring individual criteria separately. In Teacher Anna's case, she gives one overall score for her students' poem recitations based on her general impression, without rating individual aspects such as voice, expression, or accuracy. In the scenario of Teacher Anna where she looks at the performance as a whole, assigns a single score that reflects overall quality, and focuses on general impression rather than individual criteria, the holistic rubrics are quick to use and emphasize overall effectiveness, but they provide less detailed feedback, as students cannot see which specific parts need improvement. Question number 10. Teacher Paula wants to assign grades to her students' projects. She uses a scoring guide that lists specific criteria and the points for each, so that she can calculate a total score and convert it into a grade. What is the primary purpose of using this type of scoring guide in assessment? Letter A. To give students a checklist of tasks. Letter B. To provide detailed feedback on each skill. Letter C. To standardize scoring and make grading fair. Letter D. To summarize students' overall behavior. The correct answer is letter C. To standardize scoring and make grading fair. Teacher Paula uses a scoring guide that lists specific criteria with assigned points for each, allowing her to calculate a total score and convert it into a grade. The main purpose of this approach is to ensure consistency and fairness. By using the same criteria and point system for all students, grading becomes systematic, objective, and transparent. It also helps students see which areas they performed well in and which need improvement. Thank you for watching.